What's going on, everybody? Nick Gaschler, back again here with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at our fourth corner, I believe, which is going to be Trent McDuffie. And Trent McDuffie's tape is, to me, very boring, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. As a corner or defensive player, you want your tape to be boring. Just specifically as a corner, you want your tape to be boring. I look at a guy like Sauce Gardner. His tape is really boring because he's really good. It's the same thing every single time, and that is the same thing every time, and that is just consistent level play. And I think that's what Trent McDuffie brings to the table, which is why a lot of people like him. Now, he's primarily a zone cornerback, but he can also play a little bit of man. And this first play is gonna show that pretty well. And I don't have many plays. I have 7 plays for you guys today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, first play is man. He's gonna be right here, and he's playing off man this receiver's gonna run a drag route, and he's playing off man. That's probably one of the hardest routes to cover, especially if you're an off man, because you have to bust ass all the way over here to keep up with him, to keep up with his receiver to be able to to keep him covered. McDuffie reads it, is not able to come down over the linebackers and the safety, and is going to have to run across the field, avoid this guy's route so he doesn't run into him and get this guy open, and come down and close on the receiver right here and is able to make a tackle. In my opinion, that's a really impressive play. It shows off his athleticism as well as his instincts. He reads the play. Once this receiver starts to move inside, he also starts to shuffle inside, and once he makes his definitive break, McDuffie does the same. He's able to break across the field. The angle is as good as it can get. Obviously, you'd like your angle to be across like this, but with 2 players in the way and 2 other players on this side, it can be hard to do that. So McDuffie makes the best decision he can make and turns what could be a very long gain into like a 2-yard gain. It's actually behind the sticks, believe it or not. So very good job from Trent McDuffie, I think, on this first play of being able to come in and make a tackle, but also be able to use his speed and athleticism and instincts to go cover one of the hardest routes because of the position that he got himself into, or not necessarily that he got himself into, but the defensive coverage scheme put him into in this play. And as I said, Trent McDuffie's tape is really boring. Outside of that play right there wasn't another target from McDuffie to McDuffie in this entire film. In the 44 minutes that I watched against Oregon, he did not get a single target. But it's because he primarily plays in zone coverage. In this play, he's going to be playing deep in a cover 2 look. How do we know that it's cover 2? Because when the play develops, there are 2 high players. There's the safety, and then McDuffie also drops back to play high. The thing I want to highlight about this is watch how McDuffie moves. Watch where his eyes take him, right? So he's going to come this way, and when the quarterback comes out of the pocket and goes this way, he's following him. When he feels receivers come up towards him, he's going to keep everything in front of him and let them play in front of him rather than behind him and move back. All of that is just really good job from Trent McDuffie of being able to use his athleticism and change of direction ability in space to continue to keep the space covered, his side of the field covered, and be able to shut down any potential options for number 13, the quarterback. That's a really good job from Trent McDuffie, and it may not seem like much, but if you really break it down and analyze it, it's a great play in terms of zone coverage. This is one of my favorite plays that I've seen from him. McDuffie's really good in zone, and we also saw that he was able to be decent in man coverage, and this is again another reason why I think he's going to be really good in man coverage. McDuffie's right here, playing super high off man coverage by about almost 10 yards. This receiver's just going to run vertical and try and sell him, right? Let's watch what the receiver's doing in his stem. When he comes upfield, he's going to try and fake inside and outside and inside and outside. But now watch McDuffie on the same drive. Watch his hips. When he gets out, his hips do not move at all. He just continues to stay in his back pedal and force this receiver to come to him and force him to make a break where McDuffie's able to limit that separation and stay on top of him. That is great coverage technique. He does not bite on the corner, on the receiver's fakes or whatever early, and he's able to stick to what he has to do to cover the receiver here, and that he does a great job. The play may not be going his way off design, but from the backside, this coverage is just as good as you can get because, he doesn't let himself get sold. He stays patient, and he's able to come in and limit that separation and cover the receiver very efficiently. Now, I've talked a little bit about how athletic Trent McDuffie is. We saw that with his change of direction ability in the second play. We saw that with his speed in the first play. Now we're going to see it kind of all come together right here. This is an insane effort from Trent McDuffie, who's on the top of your screen right here, coming from the 50-yard line. It's going to be a long break run, and McDuffie's going to go work to make a play on it. And watch his speed. Down the field, he's closing, and he's faster than the rest of these people because he's able to catch up with this running back and come in. And if there's nobody else there, if Kyler Gordon, who is also a very good cornerback in this draft class, if Kyler Gordon didn't come in and make the play with his good speed, Trent McDuffie from the other side, because Oregon is almost on the opposite hash, Trent McDuffie would be able to come in from the other side and potentially make a tackle here. Now, McDuffie isn't the most physical guy in the world, but the thing that I really want to showcase here is how fast he's moving, right? We're going to watch him from the top of the screen. Boom, gets into his second, third gear and is able to close on that running back. That's really good speed, good burst right there, and is able to consistently maintain that high long speed to get there. That gives me confidence that if he's able to do that against a running back running down the field, if the receiver is coming on a deep route, he should be able to keep up with him no problem. Now, some of the potential downsides to Trent McDuffie as a player, and there are not much because, again, like I said, his tape is boring. There aren't a lot of key areas of improvement, but this could certainly be one of them, and we see it a lot, especially in this Oregon game because they run a lot. But go make a tackle. Don't go for ankles and whatnot because he's going to go over you. McDuffie's a smaller guy, but he needs to square up right here, and if he's the main guy to make this tackle, he should be squaring up, working from the outside in to wrap up while number 5 comes in and helps him finish the play. Instead, he kind of just dives at ankles, and I don't really like that. If you square him up right there, you could tackle him right here rather than him being able to gain these 2-3 extra yards, which really matter in the grand scheme of things as they push towards the first down marker. In terms of positives, McDuffie does do a good job of being able to read the quarterback's eyes. His eyes are towards the backfield the entire time. And he's able to see the ball be thrown and then come down and be the first guy to come make a play on that. That is a positive. I do like his instincts. I just like to see him be a little bit more physical as a player and as a tackler. We see him work outside in a lot, which is something that we talk about for defensive backs on this channel. We want you to work outside in, to force everything inside. McDuffie does a good job of that, but I'd also like to see him, if he's the forefront player, to go wrap up and make a tackle. And last but not least, this play right here is interesting because I feel it does show off his ability in zone coverage, but also his ability with his ball skills, which is a big question of his. We're going to see a 3-high shell already because we have Gordon right here, Trent McDuffie right here, and then the safety over the top. 3-high, 3-man shell is most likely going to come from this, and it does. All 3 of these guys kind of drop back into coverage. You have a cover 3 look right here. Let's watch the receiver down here because this is what ultimately helps the play out. He's going to run a wheel route, and he's going to get up in that area where nobody's covering because the flat player right here, number 44, bites on the flat route when number 13 looks over his way. The flat route right here, this is the wheel route. The flat route comes out right here, and 44 is going to bite on it, which allows this wheel route to get open. That's a pretty basic offensive concept. You see that a ton. And then end up being up to the deep guy to be able to come down and cover that. McDuffie sees it a little late. Is going to have to change directions because, again, he's watching the quarterback. He's not watching the coverage because nobody's in his zone yet. He reads it a little late. He's going to have to come down. Doesn't take a great angle to the football, and that's my first issue with the play. We're going to see him go, instead of taking a T-stepping, moving down like this, he kind of flips his hips and goes around like that. That's just not an efficient way to move. And if he was able to take a T-step and go directly down, he could either put an impact on the play or potentially pick it off. Instead, the catch is going to end up being allowed, and it's a tough play to make. I give him a lot of credit for being able to come down and make that play, come down and be right there that quickly. But again, I'd kind of like to see him be a little bit more instinctive, feel out where people may or may not be coming from, and then come down to make a play rather than just being right there right as he catches the football. So in conclusion, like I said, Trent McDuffie's tape is really boring. It's hard to get through a whole game of his and not love it, but be entertained by it, just because he does what he needs to do every single play. And I can't knock him for that. That actually makes him one of the better players in this draft, who I thought was worth profiling because of his ability to do everything that he needs to do. And I think that can continue on the NFL level. Washington also has a weird scheme with their zone. I don't love it. And that's kind of been an issue since I started watching a lot of Washington tape in 2017 and whatnot with Sidney Jones and then Byron Murphy later in 2019. They just run weird defensive stuff zone-wise, and I'm not a big proponent from zone coverage. I kind of like those hybrid looks, the man and zone combined into one. I do like McDuffie. I think his athleticism and I think his instincts and I think his overall ability and coverage make him one of the better corners in this draft. He's personally my cornerback 3 right now over guys like Andrew Booth and Darian Kendrick. I don't love the ball skills, partially because I think they're unproven, but also partially because I think he could do better things with his instincts. And then I don't like the physicality piece. He is 190 pounds. That's a little light for a corner. And you kind of see that show up when he has to tackle or when he's forced to make a play in the run. As a whole, though, the whole product of a Trent McDuffie is really encouraging, and I think if he goes high, I wouldn't hate if it depends on how high he goes. If he goes top 10, I don't love it, but if he goes 15, 20, 25, maybe I think would be his floor. That would be fine with me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. And also be sure to follow at GDN_scouting on Instagram. As we get closer to the draft, you'll find the majority of my content over there. But that's all I have for you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.